Okay, excellent. Hey, so the reason for this video today is to basically show you how to use Paperless Pipeline here at Gentry Real Estate. That is our folder for the broker. So any files that you do in your transactions that need to be given to the broker and reviewed by the broker, you're going to use Paperless Pipeline to upload those files, and that's where I can review them, make notes on them, let you know if there's anything missing on the file. It'll all go through Paperless Pipeline. So just wanted to show you how to use that. And so I have a screen share on here. And once you log into Paperless Pipeline, this is what it's going to look like. And so you'll see here we have the opportunity to add a transaction right up here. And we have our reference tab right here. So I want to show you the reference tab here real quick. The reference tab is kind of our broker library. This is where you're going to be able to get to any documents that the broker has. You'll see here broker documents. Here's our policies and procedures manual for you to review. Our broker license and our W-9 that you'll need occasionally. And just different options here that you have. Also industry forms that you might need, listing forms and addendums, all our logos for the company, all the Gentry logos plus the equal housing logo and the realtor logos are all kept right here. So you can get easy access to that. And there's different styles, and like there's an all white logo, a high resolution logo and everything. And then you have under miscellaneous forms, you have some more forms here, our printer driver and things if you come into the office to print. Other office forms are affiliates that you can utilize here, their information, and commission disbursement request. Required documents checklist. This will be a great document to look at to see what are the required documents for the type of transaction that you're doing. And as you can see, Luke Air Force maps and different things like that. Here's some help videos for also learning how to use Paperless Pipeline if you want to check some of those out. And then some transaction addendums. So affiliated business relationship disclosure, you can find it here. You can also find that in Transaction Desk and easy access there. Here's a fillable seller property disclosure statement. If you want to send that to your seller in a fillable PDF style where they can just fill it out on their computer and send it to you, you can utilize that. Professional inspection waivers, just different things that you might find useful here. Waiver of contractual documents, and a FERPTA guide, some information about FERPTA and everything down there. So that would be in the reference. Anytime you go anywhere in Transaction Desk, when you want to get back to the home main page, you just check on home and you're going to get back here. This is going to show you where all your transactions are, any tasks that you have due for that day, and any files that you need to assign. So let's just get into this. It's pretty basic and pretty easy to use. When you have a new transaction, what you're going to do is come up here to the right and you're going to click on Add Transaction. So we're going to do that. And what I'm going to show you is just basically uploading a transaction file, starting a file. What we'll do today is we'll do a listing, and then we'll upload that listing that's going to sell, and we'll upload the sale documents to that listing. So your location is always going to be here on Gentry Real Estate, and the transaction name is always going to be the full address. So you're going to type in the full address. I've just got one here made up. So 123 East Elm Street, and we'll go Gilbert, Arizona 85234, and that'll be our transaction name. And then we're going to put in the MLS number. So when you're uploading and starting a transaction, you're obviously already going to have that listing MLS number. If for some reason you're doing a listing and it's not going to be in the MLS, which would be very rare because it's pretty much required now, you would just put non-MLS in there. But let's say we do have an MLS number. We'll just add it in there. And then we're going to pick status. So anything with an asterisk, a red asterisk, is a required field. You're going to need to fill that out. So we're going to find the status. We are doing a listing, so our status is going to be right in here in one of these listing categories, either commercial, REO, short sale, traditional, vacant land. So we're just going to, for the purposes of training, mostly we're going to be doing traditional sales for our listings. And so we'll select that, and then we want to select a label for that. So which one of these applies? Is it a rental? Is it land, owner, agent? We would select that label. But let's just say this is just a normal residential sale. So we're going to click that. And then listing date. So we'll put in any of these dates that apply. We would have a listing date. Let's just say we took that listing today. And then we're going to choose the expiration date. And so we'll just choose whatever date that's going to expire. Now, these don't apply yet because we don't have a sale. So we won't have any acceptance date or any of this information. And we're just going to scroll down past this words here. I'll kind of bring up that in a minute. Seller. So we're just going to put in whoever the seller's name is. That in, and we won't have a buyer name or anything at this point. We can put in the list price, and let's just say that's $478,000 is the list price. We won't have a sell price. You can figure out the dollar amount of the commission and put it in there, but you don't have to. If there's any commission summary instructions that you want our office staff to have, for example, if you're sharing this with a partner or have so much going to the transaction coordinator or anything like that, you can put any commission instructions in there, and then we'll have it. Last thing you need to do to create this transaction is to add your name. Now you can either search Gentry Real Estate here and just search and find your name, or you can just start typing in your name and it will come up. And I'm going to use the Andrew Agent one for training purposes. And it shows that I'm on the listing side, and I'm just going to add transaction. And then we're going to come to this page now. So it's created our transaction for us. So we've got 123 Elm Street, as you can see right up here. And then all the information that we put in there, our status is seller traditional sell, our MLS number, our label that it's residential, and we're on the listing side, and our location there is Gentry Real Estate. So the date it was listed on, we have our seller, our list price, and everything. Now the information right here is just something that I'd like you to read and look at to make sure you're following just kind of the directions of setting the label and putting them in the right categories, which I'm going to show you right now. But read through this, gives you some reminders here, like if you are a principal on the transaction, did you disclose that? If you're related to your client, did you disclose that? So just have some good reminders here. And would like you to, if the seller is wanting to waive their spuds, make sure they are signing the front page of those spuds that has the disclosure advisory. So, all right, perfect. So now what we have is we have our transaction created here based on what we told it, what type of transaction we have. On the left side, we have our checklist that it put in there for us based on what we told the type of transaction that it was. So we have listing traditional, and then that'll be a checklist there for our listing documents. And then once it sells, what documents we're going to need if they apply on the seller side. So obviously, like for example, there's an HOA addendum that it's asking for, but if there is no HOA, obviously you won't need to add that. But let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to just scroll down to the bottom here, and we're going to say we want to upload some documents. So let's upload our documents that we have for this listing. You can either drag and drop them here or click on it, and it'll just bring up where on your computer you might have those. So we're just going to search where we know we have all of our documents. And so we'll go under listings, and we're going to just go ahead and grab this property here and my listing paperwork. Okay, so I need to just click on the documents that I'm going to need. I've got my listing paperwork, my MLS active printout, and my tax monsoon printout. And I'm going to just hit open. And now it brings them up over here. Now it's going to ask you to add the doc name. So for example, the MLS active printout, well, you want to make sure you go ahead and just start typing that in, and you pick the name of the label based on what we have in the system here. So if I just start typing in tax, it says that we should call it tax ownership, and this is the listing side, so we'll select that. So we want to make sure you're naming these not by the name that you already had it, but you're picking what name it has in the folder. Okay. Now this particular document, I know that I have more than just the one document in there. I have a bulk. I have my exclusive right to sell, my agency, my wire fraud advisory, and things in that one folder. This system is going to let you break that apart into each individual thing. So this is something that I don't need to label that. I need to know that this is a bulk upload. So I'm going to know that I need to break those apart into their individual folders. Okay. But I do need to give this a permission category. Basically, this is just the category of what it is. And we know this is a listing file. So we're going to select listing, and then we'll hit upload docs. All right. So now this brings us back into our transaction. And as we scroll down, now we see we have these files that we uploaded based on our transaction. Now, again, this we know is multiple documents in one folder. We can't have that. Broker can't review the file if it's not broken up into just individual labels. Okay, so what we're going to do is break that up now. We just go all the way to the right here, and we click on that gear, and we're going to say we want to break apart those documents. Now, if we come up here, we're going to see now what documents are in there. So we're going to select the pages that we want this to be. So we want from pages 1, and then we just go and we see where our exclusive right to sell ends, which is page 7, be the last page. And so we'll go up here to page 7, and then we're going to give it the name, and we'll just start typing in exclusive right to sell. It'll bring up the label that we want you to have on there. Again, don't put your own name in there. Make sure you're using the label name. And then we're going to go to page 8 from there. And then page 8 is the agency disclosure. We know that that's only one page. So we'll just go from 8 to 8, and then we'll start typing in agency. And then once you see that, you'll just pick it, right? Agency disclosure for the seller. Okay. And then we know we're going to go to page 9. It'll bring us to page 9. And so the HOA addendum is going to be 3 pages. So we're going to go from 9 to 11. And then we'll type in HOA. It'll bring that up for us, HOA listing side. And then 12. So we want to go to 12. And wire fraud is only 1 page as well. So we'll select that, and we start typing in wire fraud. There it is, wire fraud addendum. All right, now as you can see, we're out of ranges here. We just click add more ranges, and we get to keep going. And we'll go to 13. So 13 starts our listing data file profile sheet, and that takes us to 16. Okay, so we're going to go to from 13 to 16, and we'll just start typing in profile, MLS profile. Okay, and we'll select that. And now 17. Let's see what 17 is, our affiliated business disclosure relationship. And we know that that is 2 pages long. So, and that'll be the last thing. So from 17 to 18, and we start typing in affiliated business disclosure, Gentry. All right, perfect. So we have all these documents all split up, broken apart and everything. Now, what we want to do is, last thing here before we hit break apart, is delete original after breaking apart. So we don't need that original, this one that we labeled bulk documents. We're not going to need that anymore. So we're just going to say delete the original after breaking apart, and then we'll hit break apart. Just takes a minute here and we'll get to it. And again, don't save it. Don't keep that bulk documents in there. We've split them all apart and everything. So just say delete that original after breaking apart. Okay, so now you can see that they're all broken apart. So we have everything in its own label. Now, as the broker, I can go in and I can review that document and see if there's anything wrong with it, anything needs to be done, and I'll be reviewing it. So as the broker, as I review it, you'll start seeing these boxes over here reviewed. You'll start seeing those checked off. Now, once you've uploaded them, you can come over here and you can start marking them off yourself. You uploaded the exclusive right to sell, the MLS data, the real estate agency disclosure, the affiliated business disclosure. Is there an HOA in it? Yep, HOA addendum you uploaded, and the tax ownership and the MLS printout you uploaded. Okay. I forgot to upload that electronic signature certificate, so I'll just add that later. Once you mark these off, these are scheduled. Once you've created a transaction, these will have a timeline that it's going to start reminding you to upload documents. So if you forgot to upload the MLS data profile sheet, for example, after 3 days, it's going to start prompting you to upload that. Now, once you mark it off over here on the left on the checklist, just in case me as a broker hasn't gotten to it, it will still stop reminding you of that once you mark it off. So be sure you mark those checklists off so you won't get these email reminders saying that you haven't uploaded it yet. Okay. All right, perfect. So now, let's say you have your listing sell. Hopefully that happens. You get a contract on it and we've got a sold listing. Now what you're going to want to do is upload the documents for that sale. So you would have come back into your file. You would be over here, let's say, and now you just want to select on your transactions. Go to transactions here, and you'll see your transaction right here. So you go to that 123 Elm Street and you'll click on it, and it brings you right back to here. And you can see you've got your listing documents checked off. And we want to just start uploading our sell documents now. So we'll go to sell, or we'll go to upload documents. Again, we're going to go find those on our computer. And so we're going to go to that file that we saved them at. And we're going to find our executed files, right? So we want this offer here. It says that it's executed. I suggest when you name your documents, you name them that they've been executed if they're fully executed. I get agents all the time, they'll upload something that's not signed by a seller or not signed by the buyer. And so I have to put a note on that they still need to get that signed. So I think usually they're just not grabbing the right file that they're needing. They're grabbing one that hasn't been signed yet. So clearly identify which ones have been fully executed so you don't run into that. So we're just going to upload a few of these documents, not all of them. The executed contract, maybe the earnest money, and Binzer and all that would come later on in the deal. So we'll just upload those, saying we just got a new offer. So we'll hit open, and that's going to bring them over here. Now this one is the earnest money receipt, and just in case, sometimes people will abbreviate and not name it earnest money receipt. So again, click on the file, start typing in, and select what we have labeled it, okay? And this one, again, is just going to be a bulk documents, because I know that there's more than just the contract in here. So I'm going to just name that bulk upload. So you can always name these yourself too. We prefer that you name it, whatever that drop down is, because that's a pre-named label. But if you need to rename it for some reason, those labels might not always fit, or maybe you're uploading another copy of the contract because you missed initials on the first one. So you're uploading a corrected copy. Paperless Pipeline won't let you upload a document with the exact same name. So let's just say, for example, you are uploading another purchase contract, okay? Purchase contract, and you've already uploaded one. It's not going to let you name it the same thing. So you'll need to hit a dash and do like corrected. Just call it, purchase contract corrected, and that'll be the corrected copy. Okay, so keep that in mind. But let's just go back to, this is a bulk upload. And we have to select a permission category. So this is no longer a listing, right? Because this is the sell documents for that listing. So don't put them under listing, because that's going to be confusing to have the purchase documents in with a listing, and it won't help us in a section that I'll talk to you about a little bit later. All right, so we're going to put it under sell and hit save. All right, so now we have them under our sell documents. Again, we'll go over here to bulk upload and break those apart. And we'll go to page 1, and the sales contract is going to go to page 11. And then we'll start typing in purchase contract, and it'll be right there. And then to 12, that's our HOA addendum. So it'll be 12 to 14 is HOA. Okay. And then 15. This one had a solar. So there's a solar lease, and that's going to be a couple pages there. So let's type in solar. And we don't have a label for that. I'll have to add one, but solar addendum. So we can just name that since there was no folder. All right, and then to 17 is our buyer contingency addendum. We know that that's 2 pages. Okay. All right, and there's more pages here, but you get the gist of what we're doing. Don't need to go through all of those. We can delete original after breaking apart again, and just hit break apart. Just takes a little bit to get those broken apart. All right, here we are. So now we see we have our listing documents and our sell documents down here. Perfect. Now, when if there is something missing in your transaction, you'll see this little note thing here. If this pops up and there's a note underneath, for example, let's say the HOA addendum, you're missing seller initials on page 1. This note will pop up right underneath it that says whatever the problem is, seller initials missing on page 1. And then it will send you an email letting you know that this note was put on there and that you need to make that correction and re-upload it. So that'll happen. Now, what you'll want to do is you'll want to come over here again and start marking off anything that you can that you have uploaded. And you'll also see that I will be marking these off as well. You'll see a check mark that'll actually go in the center, a green check mark that'll go in the center of this box once I've checked it off that you've had it. Now, let's say you're missing initials on the exclusive right to sell or something, and I've got a little note here. I'm not going to mark it off over here until you upload the corrected version with the initials that are missing. And then I'll delete the note and then I'll mark it off over here. Okay, just so you kind of know how that process goes. Now, the other thing I want to show you on this is, let's say the sale falls through on your listing. So you no longer have this transaction, it's dead. We are going to need two things in the file. So I'm going to show you real quick here. This is me logged in as the broker. Okay, so I'm going to go to 123 East Elm Street. I'm going to search that, and I find it right here. And so when I'm over here, I'm going to be able to look at each document and see that it was uploaded and everything was properly done and mark them off. As I mark them off over here and look at them, I'll come over here and mark them off. Okay. And if I need to make a note, missing initials, uh, 2012 or whatever it might be, I'm going to be able to just hit save, and that's how it leaves that note on the file until I go in and delete it. Okay. So you have all your transaction documents here, your listing paperwork over here, or a checklist over here. Now, let's say this transaction falls through. Like I said, we're going to need two documents. When we see that you uploaded a document showing that it fell through, and we know that it fell through, or you can put a note on the file, we're going to add this checklist to it. Escrow cancellation, sale fell through. It'll show you the documents that we're going to need. We're going to need the document that was used to cancel the transaction, which in many times is the buyer inspection notice and seller response that they cancel that way, or an unfulfilled loan contingency, low appraisal, whatever the case might be that they're canceling. And so you'll upload that one, and then we'll also need the escrow cancellation and disposition of earnest money. So that is a letter that you'll get from the title company that will say, hey, we've canceled escrow and we've given the earnest money back to the buyer or the seller, whatever the case may be. So we do need to have those in the file for the Department of Real Estate, showing where those sacred public funds went. So those are two things that we would add there, and you would upload those two documents down here into the cell showing that it canceled. Okay. Now I want to show you, I'm going to go back to being logged in as an agent, and I'm just going to hit refresh. Go back into it. And once I refresh, you'll see that those documents that I reviewed and approved are over here. And the note that I put on the file is now showing up on your file. Okay. And so you can also add a note or send an email on the file. So let's just say you go up here to note. This is going to be a note on the file. Let's just say it's a there's no HOA on the property, let's just say, and you want to inform us, or maybe it's a non-ML or a non-MLS. On MLS cell, and you need us to know that. You can just add that and add a note down here, add a note to the file. And now we can see your note that you're giving to us that this is a non-MLS cell, so we can not bug you about getting the MLS documents. Another thing, if you go up here to note/email, if you want to send us an email, you'll see down here that says that it's a note, and it will remain a note until you select on a staff member, and then it's going to change to send email. So then that'll do two things. That'll send me an email or Lisa Marie an email, whoever you check, or you can check both of us. Lisa Marie really, she's the one that kind of goes into this file and make sure you have all your paperwork done and get you paid and that type of thing. And we need to, she'll make sure that you have all your paperwork in here. So you might need to email her as well. And that'll do two things. If you send an email, it'll add a note to the file and it'll send the email both. So anything we do in here is going to keep notes down here at the bottom. Okay. Now, let's say, we'll just cancel that. Let's say we get this property that has, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to show you one thing real quick here too. I've got to do, get back to logged in as the broker. Let me find that. There we go. Logged in as the broker. So I've made this canceled here. And so next time you go into this, it's going to show up here, all these documents to show up. One thing that I didn't do is I would normally change this status. Okay. I'm going to go up and I'm going to edit transaction as the broker. And I'm going to change this from status from seller traditional sell to fell through. Okay, fell through buyer, if buyer fell through. Okay, I'm going to save that transaction. Okay, so now that is the status of the transaction, is fell through instead of active. Okay, all right. So now we'll just, in order for that to show on our end here, we're going to have to refresh that. Go into it. And now we show that status as fell through. Now, so you've got this property up here, 123 Elm Street. It's canceled. Okay. So when you get a new offer on this property, what you're going to do is come back to this file and you're going to come up to the top left and you're going to select new offer. Okay. So you've got a new offer. What's that? What that's going to do now is it's going to give the transaction name number 2. Okay. So if you have a listing that falls through 2 or 3 times, each time you do new offer, it's going to be number 2, then number 3, number 4, and so on. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it has. All right, so we've got number 2. We're going to change, you are going to change the status back from fell through on number 2 to seller traditional. We're going to change that back there. And then we don't need to copy all the checklist over. So we can uncheck that and create new offer. Okay. All right. So this gives you an opportunity to come back here and make any updates or changes to the sales price and this information. And you can make any updates here. You can put in a new buyer's name and all that. A new sales price, and then you'll just hit save transaction. Okay, so now we're back in here, and instead of having all those sell docs, we're in number 2 now. Okay, so this is the new transaction. So now we only are back to your normal listing documents, and now we can upload our new sale documents. Okay. So we just hit upload documents and just proceed as you did before, uploading your sale documents. So now when you go back to home and you look at your transactions, you're going to just see number 2, but you can always sort and you can look at your ones that have been canceled, or anytime you just search the property address, it is going to pull up both transactions. So you can always get to your old one and you can get to your new one that shows number 2. So I hope that helps you kind of understand and know how to use Paperless Pipeline. Again, there are some help videos that you can go to right up here at help, and you can hit help video training center. You can also ask Lisa Marie or myself for more information or help with Paperless Pipeline. But that is the gist of it. It's pretty easy to use. Again, anytime you have that you're anywhere on here, just hit home and it's going to bring you back to this screen. And if you do have a task due, that basically just means that hey, you started a cell and it looks like the Benzer is due now, the buyer inspection notice. And so it'll kind of remind you, giving you a task to make sure you upload that. And remember that you do need to upload all your documents to Paperless Pipeline within 5 days. So please be aware of that. Just get those uploaded as soon as you get them fully executed. I think those are all the things, the basics that I wanted to go through in this tutorial. But thank you for being at Gentry. Thank you for being part of our family, and reach out to us if you need any more help.